Yeah, I was saved at 13, coming out of a Josh McDowell retreat, Christmas challenge they called it, Lookout Mountain, Tennessee, Covenant College. And I'd like to say that my life radically transitioned to sanctification at that point in time. And it didn't happen. I'd like to say that I was probably a teenage carnal believer into my 30s. Everything's the same. My sin life is still the same. I'm still addicted to all the same things that I'm addicted to, approval, alcohol, drugs, pornography, sex, applause, just whatever you name it in high school. That's actually where I met Pastor Chris in high school. We went to high school together many decades ago. And I always like to say we weren't really friends in high school. Matter of fact, we were probably enemies in high school. I always like to say there was probably two really bad kids at that high school. And Chris would probably argue with me that he was one and I was two. He would probably say I was one and he was two. But however it shakes out, we were just kind of two unsanctified young men kind of banging around life together. After high school, I just kind of jumped into what men do. Go to college, crank through life, get married. Found the woman of my dreams early. I was 21 years old, 22 by the time I had my first child. I remember signing up to go to the police academy. I said, well, I'm gonna cut my teeth in Palm Beach County and, push a patrol car around and kind of learn the trade. And I did. Spent about 2 years, a little over 2 years doing that here in Palm Beach County. One night, a dear sergeant friend of mine handed me an application that said United States Secret Service on it. So I spent the remaining 7.5 years of my career as a Secret Service agent, traveled all around the country, all around the world, protected all kinds of really interesting people. I still had some of the same issues. I couldn't shake some of the sin patterns in my life. Knew who God was, but wasn't transformed into his likeness. And then one day, I had a visitation from the Lord. I know that's going to sound weird, but the Lord met me at my house in Wellington. It was a weekend event. And it transformed. He touched every aspect of my life. It was terrifying and earth-shattering and moving in every way, in a good way. And I like to say that February 2007 was a transitional month in my life. I reconnected and recommitted my life to the Lord recommitted myself to my marriage that month, to my children, to be the dad that I wanted to be. And we just started in missions and ministry at that time in our life. When I came back from one of those missions trips, I heard that Chris Tress was planting a church. I got something in the mail. So we reconnected over lunch. We prayed for each other. I can remember we asked for forgiveness, and I just wanted to know more what God was doing in this man's heart. And that led into more of an opportunity to come on staff back in 2011, 2012, right when this church was being planted. And I had an incredible time. From there, the Lord led us to a 10-year journey where we spent the last 10 years in Colorado and in Arizona. And we planted a mission, a not-for-profit Christian ministry called Project 2411. And it was here one Sunday when we were praying with a group of elders and listening to a conversation at the time that God spoke to my heart about Proverbs 24:11. He asked me to go home that Sunday and read through the book of Proverbs, which I did. And when I got to Proverbs 24, verse 11, it's like the Bible illuminated. And the verse is a very simple verse. Rescue those being led away to death. Some versions say rescue those being led away to slaughter. Basically, it's a verse to go share what I've done in your life with other people so their lives can be transformed like yours. So we took our family on a 10-year journey that took us to guest ranches in Colorado, owning ranches and seeing families' lives transformed by utilizing the outdoor adventure and the gospel. About a year ago, Chris and I began talking, and he said, what would it look like, as I was praying, he was praying, and over the last 8 to 10 months, we've crafted an opportunity for me to come back, become part of the family again, come back on staff. And really the dream is to look and see what God's doing, to plant more ministries, to plant more opportunities to share the true heart of God to the people of Palm Beach County.